I think I shocked Say Wong with us being on time at 7 p.m.
See, and this is 2 weeks in a row that I've been able to jump out with that. Oh, well, better knock on wood without
Tech
technical
issues.
issues.
I
What's
know,
up,
it's weird.
Jonathan?
Hi, Jonathan Nog. So, hi, Say Wong. Hi, Jonathan
What's
Nog. I
up,
hope you
Say
guys are doing
Wong?
well. Welcome, KCP family.
And
We are
everybody else
happy
who
to
are
see you.
the extroverts or the people the gawkers out there who haven't said hello yet, but we see you that there are more than that online. So
Yes.
hello to everybody else.
Hello to everybody.
Oh,
Very
Duran!
excited to see you. Hi, Duran. Duran.
All right, so we have very very exciting things. Hopefully, in the next 2 weeks, we're going to be back out on the show circuit. We had a little bit of oh snaps! There's one of my former students. What's up? What's up, Jacob? We are going to be back out on the road. We are actually going to be on the 15th of February. We're going to be in San Jose at a toy store, and then oddly, we're going to be the next day. We're going to be in Auburn. We're going to be at a music concert, which will be our first time doing a music concert. But it's actually a fundraiser for the LA fire victims. So we are just going to be one of many vendors and many musicians and artists that are all coming together and contributing to help out the people in LA right now. So we are going to be getting back on the road again. But we still have kybercave.com, and I want to encourage all of y'all to stop by kybercave.com. Check out all of our wonderful wares if you have a Saber need at all.
Yes, if you have Saber need. But first and foremost, as we always do, it is time for the nerdy news. What, that kind of rhymed.
News. I have not been watching football.
My husband's team, his game just finished. We'll see how that goes. Okay, anyways, on the nerdy news tonight, Star Wars Episode 1 Jedi Power Battles returns. Now, 25 years after its original release, Jedi Power Battles is back, and the action-packed adventure from Asper is in collaboration with Lucasfilm Games is now available on PC, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, and Xbox. Get your first look at the Star Wars Episode 1 Jedi Power Battles with the launch trailer and image gallery that are in the article in the description below. But of course, as per the usual, Mezzo is going to post the link into the chat for all of you watching live.
I'm excited to see about that.
Yeah, you can get this on the Nintendo Switch, Xbox Series XS, PlayStation 5, and 4, and PC. And the being on 4 is pretty cool because not many companies are making PS4 games new any longer because the support for it, like for new games and stuff, stops. It's a fairly older console, so a lot of places are not making new games for it. So I saw some gameplay footage of it. You can see it in the trailer in the article, which is pretty neat. It'll be a lot of fun and some new characters as well that are put into it. Next on the nerdy news, Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande lead Wicked to 10 Oscar nominations.
Wow.
So Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, who played Glinda and Elphaba in the latest adaptation of the musical Wicked, have both been nominated for Oscars, Ariana for Best Supporting Actress and Cynthia for Best Lead Actress. Other nominations for the film received are production design, sound, visual effects, costume design, editing, hair and makeup, styling, and Best Picture. So that's pretty cool. I'm excited to see, like where that information goes. If you want to see the article that I got this information from, I just posted it in the chat, but it's also, of course, in the description below if you are watching the upload.
Excellent. I actually, I started watching some on as you guys may know, I'm a huge YouTube junkie, and I was watching some SNL clips. And I was watching some Ariana Grande SNL clips, and she is actually pretty hilarious.
She's hilarious.
I never really assumed. I just thought because she was a singer that she wouldn't be very funny. But I don't know where that came from.
I don't know where you got that from, honey. She is hilarious.
Oh my gosh, she's so good with characters.
I can't repeat some of the things that she said on the show because this is our family-friendly one. But she's always been quite hilarious on that show. And she did fantastic as Glinda.
Did you see the skit where her and Jimmy Kimmel Fallon, Jimmy Fallon are reenacting the video meme of like the people arguing about
Wicked Witch? Yeah.
Oh my god, she was so hilarious.
Yeah, she was. I saw it on TikTok, I think it was, from Jimmy Fallon. All right,
Right.
so next we have James Kaiser, who is our producer for Flow, the show, and every week he brings us a flow. And this week's flow, that I do apologize if I say it wrong because it is an international flow, is
Ooh.
Opugachin. And you will see the link in the description, but you will also see it in the chat. But thank you so much for James for providing this, and here's your flow of the show.
Okay.
All right, so yes, this is the fire person I mentioned last week that does not have long hair. Van has this standing belief that fire performers always have long hair, and that is not the case here.
They are magicians. I don't know how they do it
Yeah.
without lighting themselves on fire. That was, you know what I was waiting for in the beginning? I thought, like, you remember in the movie Crow where he, like, throws down the cigarette butt or whatever and it makes the whole big crow symbol? That's what it looked like on the ground. It looked like it was going to light up and, like,
He
I don't
did
know,
light up the ground a little bit, but since it's cement and cement's not super flammable, I think it ended up fine. But that probably would have been a little dangerous, not being some official thing, because it more looked like he was in a skate park, just kind of doing his own thing.
Right.
Looking for no cops. So our guest tonight, Medzo, is actually interviewing, but Van, would you like to introduce?
I would love to introduce this guest. This guest is somebody that we have been trying to get on this show for quite some time. He's a minor celebrity. We were actually introduced to him or told that we need to talk to him by V Ripper and Gary. You guys know Gary and V Ripper. They are very much beloved around here. They said that we should check out Swirv and his crew. And of course, you know, if you've been around this channel for a little while, about, what was it, month and a half, 2 months ago, we talked to David
Mm-hmm.
Hernandez, who is also part of Swirv's crew. So we are going to learn a lot more about Swirv and what he does in the industry. He's got a fantastic video role, and I think you guys are going to be excited, just as excited as we are to meet him. And I'm excited about Mezzo running a majority of the interview. We had a confusion on the nights and stuff like that, but she does a
I thought
fantastic.
Van wasn't going to be here, and the way that I approach interviews is I do all my research, and then I come up with a whole list of pre-written questions.
Yeah, and then I feel bad. I feel bad, and her interviews are excellent anyway. So
I
it just
appreciate that.
gives me a chance to sit back and just enjoy.
You can just
All
sit
right.
back. You can sit in the virtual green room as where Swerve is at right now, and you can enjoy the interview and watch out for comments.
Okay, I will do that. All right.
All
With no
right, well, here is-
no further ado, please give it up for Swirv. All right.
Hi there, Swerve. How are you?
Hey, how are you doing, Mezzo? Saber Rattle.
Good. Yes.
Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for coming on. I love watching, especially the Instagram videos. I've see people that you work with that I've also been a fan of. Like Friction, I've been a fan of since he was on Save the Last Dance. So it's been a little while with him. It's really good to see some of the moves. I mean, being a former martial artist myself, I recognize some of this stuff and whatnot. It's been a long time since I've been able to do that practice. But so one of the first things I want to know is how did you break into the stunt industry, and were there any like pivotal moments or mentors along the way?
Okay, so a little bit backstory about me. I was born in Long Island, New York, grew up outside of Philly, came out to California for university, spent 3 years teaching English in Korea, spent a year backpacking, traveling the world, and entering a lot of competitions for breaking. I was a b-boy, a breakdancer, and then I came into the industry after. So I grew up doing martial arts all my life. I bounced around to a bunch of different martial arts, trying out Taekwondo, Kung Fu, Shotokan Karate. And it was all because I had seen the Three Ninjas when I was about 5 years old.
Yes, I know that one.
Yeah. And that pretty much kickstarted my journey into caring about martial arts. And it was a fixation of mine. And even when I didn't have a school that I was training in, when I was a teenager, I would go out in the backyard, punching trees, buying up all sorts of and playing in my room and outside, and just doing heavy training, and became a huge fan of all types of martial arts. So after I got into the industry, after I finished all my travels, I got in originally through breaking, but then I decided to do everything. I did acting, voice acting, modeling, and I found that there was also stunts, and I was like, wait, you can do this for real? Like, you can be a stuntman, And it was just a match made in heaven, and I got addicted, and I got connected, and 10 years later, here we are.
That's awesome. Are there any specific stunt skills that you excel at, like high falls, specifically fight choreography itself, or car chases? I saw you scuba diving in your stunt reel that you guys will all see at the end.
So what they call in nowadays stunts has people called journeymen, which essentially has a whole bunch of different skill sets. So we always learn a bunch of different things because you never know who you have to double or what the job will call for the role. But back in the day, and actually still originally, you all come in with a specific skill set, right? That you've been training for years, that you weren't getting paid for necessarily, but either you were a BMX rider or a dirt bike rider or a drifter, or like you said, like scuba diver, skydiver, high fall specialist, the cowboy. Cowboys were the original stuntmen, right? And usually they were brought on specifically because of their expertise in that one field. A lot of people wonder what happens to Olympic athletes, right, after they finish with the Olympics, or what they're doing year round. A lot of them come to Hollywood, and so the same was for myself, doing martial arts always. That was my specialty, and it's always been my specialty. So I truly excel and enjoy fight choreography. That's my bread and butter. I'm a nerd about it. I study all the things all the time.
Yeah, it's like the people who with football study the plays, and you're like, I study choreography.
100%. Yeah, exactly that. But after a while, if you want to work more, you don't want to just learn one set of skills. And so, yes, I learned all the skills that I could. I have my own drift car. I'm a licensed skydiver, scuba diver.
Yeah, gosh, when you jumped out of that plane, I was like, I've never skydived, I've done one cliff dive once. That was the closest I had to anything like that.
I did a cliff dive when I was like 13 or 14, and I halfway broke my back by accident.
Oh no! Land with your feet, right? Feet first.
Yeah.
When I cliff dive, gosh, I was 20. No, wait, how old was I? I was in my late 20s. It was like late 20s, and I jumped off of South Point in Hawaii, their southernmost point, and the tide changes, and it was about 40 to 50 feet. But thankfully, it was feet first, and everything was fine.
Nice. Yes.
It's just like when you guys apply for like a job, like whether it be a stunt choreographer or like an office worker, the different skills they ask for. It's like for you that way with doing stunt work. How do you mentally prepare yourself to perform potentially dangerous stunts?
So, I generally get the question of like, oh, what's your most dangerous stunt, or what's the craziest thing that you do? And I believe stunt performers and stunts in general have this kind of stigma of we're all like daredevils, or just just energy seekers, and always just trying to get adrenaline junkies per se. But same thing for every sport. When you start delving into it, any extreme sport, most people are extremely safe. They're trying to be the safest. Like if you're doing skydiving, there's so many levels of safety required in order to be able to achieve the skill sets, and
so many pre-checks.
Right, exactly. All of this, and you're taking care of each other. And so for me, I have never necessarily done a stunt that I personally thought was dangerous, just because I've done the preparation, and I don't take jobs that I didn't expect that I could do. Now, there is a fear element, of course. There's always a nervous element. Because anything could go wrong. It's, again, the same thing like skydiving. You can have all the checks you want, but there are certain things that could potentially go wrong, just like you're driving a car or you're flying a plane, right? And yes, there needs to be a strong mental fortitude. So sometimes just meditating, just going over exactly what you've been doing, being confident in what you're doing, is the best way. I also have, I would say most of the things that I've needed to do was just having a strong mental fortitude. For example, one of the hardest stunts that I would say was doing Jack Ryan season 2 in Colombia, where I had to climb a waterfall about 10 times for a shot. I had to jump out of a plane and then dive into water, take off my parachute, and put on a scuba diving gear, and then go underwater, act like I was fixing the boat underneath, but I'm literally holding my breath because the scuba diving gear wasn't actually real. It was
so it was just prop scuba gear.
Yeah, just prop gear, or riding a motorcycle for 12 hours almost straight in
it's grueling
1 degree weather in Nashville, Tennessee, in rain. I almost got hypothermia for 3 days. I was cold.
That's very. It shows the dedication that you'd have to it, and how, and then it is physically grueling. Just like, gosh, if you just when I was younger and I would just go do a martial arts belt test, and sometimes that could be grueling just in that aspect. But then something that you have to keep doing over and over again. So now, have you worked with special effects or pyrotechnics, wire work, things like that?
Yeah, of course, yes.
Do you like wire work?
I love wire work. I'm a heavier guy.
Okay.
So I don't get the opportunities to do it as much as some of the smaller, lighter guys do. I'm around 215 pounds right now.
Okay.
But yeah, I've done wire work in quite a few different shoots.
It honestly looks like so much fun.
Yeah, and it's great to fly, and there's a ton of ideas that you have. But I actually really, really appreciate being able to be on the ground and actually do a lot of these stunts practically. So a lot of people, if I can do things that people feel were work like for real without the wires, I love that.
Yeah, there's like a different thing of grounding, right? The ground giving you in your body reacting to it. That wire work doesn't always give that opportunity. You can watch like a fight choreography or a piece of a fight in a movie or TV show, and you're like, that's wire work. Like you could just tell right away. There's one thing if it's stylistic, like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, but if it's supposed to look realistic, and it's not, it can be kind of rough, right. Or something like Kung Fu Chicken, Kung Pao. What was it called?
Oh, you're talking.
Man, it was so Kung Fu Hustle.
Yeah, Kung Fu Hustle.
Yeah, and it was like stylistic, silly stuff. That's all kind of different. But if it's supposed to be realistic fighting, what non-wire work is usually like what I would prefer to do as well.
Jackie's stuff,
I love Jack. Yeah. Sometimes like a sweep from underneath is like a more practical way to use some wire work than anything else. And he was actually one of my inspirations. And Double Dragon, like when I was younger, and Mortal Kombat, of course, to like get into martial arts and stuff. And mine was Taekwondo. That's the one I ended up doing. And I got to first Dan when I was 13.
Awesome.
And I left and then came back as an adult, but ended up having to have surgeries and have left since then. Now,
I have a question. You're talking about the great Jackie Chan, and there has been some thoughts and speculation that he is actually the father of parkour. What do you think about that? I am a huge parkour fan.
So he definitely brought an immense amount of popularity to parkour, and I believe a lot of free runners do relate his because of the things that he did. That's why they created the sport. In France, it started with free running and such like that. And I'm not a parkour expert myself. I've just delved into it. I go more the tricking side of things, which is more like gymnastics and martial arts mixed together. So I do a lot of the spinning flips and kicks and stuff. But yeah, a lot of the dresseurs or the free runners really got inspiration from a lot of his film and the things that he did as well. I cannot remember per se if there was a free running movement before Jackie, and he gained some inspiration for that, or vice versa, or it was like a similar time frame. But I think they did say that they saw some things in Jackie's films and then wanted to do that.
It's amazing how different cultures can influence each other like that, from France to China to America to all over the planet. All right, I'll let you go back over. I got excited.
Yeah, with Jackie's stuff in a movie, he'd often see like somewhere he needed to get to fast from A to B with as little he would like a little time as possible. So he would like slide down a curtain like 2 stories and stuff like that, or like a string of lights. I can't remember what movie it was, maybe Mr. Nice Guy, but he was like going down a string of lights and all the lights were popping as he went down, things like that. Which I can understand why that would kind of tie together. Now, have you ever, like, I know sometimes when you're doing fight choreography, you train, you get the rhythm down of a sequence and whatnot, but then you're on set and something has to change. Have you ever had any unexpected circumstances when you're on the set, like about to do it, that you've had to change?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, like there
depends on the director, stunt, like, hey, I wanted a different look to it. I want the camera this way. I need you to turn or something like that, I'm guessing.
Yes, you. We actually trained for this to be very malleable, and the better you get, of course, the more options that you can come up with.
Hmm.
There's things that you're not going to expect, even when it comes down to wardrobe and costumes or locations, or if a camera, like you said, can't see the angle that they need to shoot it, then you're going to have to change. Or if you're fighting an actor that they're not necessarily good on that side of doing the movement, and they would have to flip it, or you'd have to change it, or a partner is not able to get those movements in time. So a coordinator will usually look and see and be like, maybe we got to change this. I just had to do that for a show that I've been coordinating the last year. So many times, and again, time kept running out, so we had to modify a lot of the
Hmm.
choreography we came up with many times, and we would have to take stuff out or just make it make sense, because again, the choreography is supposed to continue to tell the story. So
Yeah.
if you're taking out bits and pieces of a sentence, you still have to make it make sense in the paragraph.
Yes, 100%. I For those of you who don't know, like both with like dance and even fight choreography, they're telling a story in the fight, and they also have to you also have to fit the camera angles in and make sure that the fight space makes sense with the camera angle changes and whatnot. That if you take out a few shots, I mean, I've seen where some movies where on Stuntman react for corridor crew, where like they'll notice a segment of the fight was removed, and all of a sudden they're like in a different spot in the TV show. Usually TV shows with like lower budgets or something like that, where it's like all of a sudden they're in a different spot, and it's like, wait, where'd that happen in the story? But things happen and things have to get changed, and it's very important to be flexible, and like you said, malleable to like change things last minute. Now, as you guys heard earlier, Swirv is a break dancer. He's a breaker, and there's a lot of similarities for aspects between dance and fight choreography, like the rhythms and things like that. Not everything is just 1, 2, 3, 4, pow, 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 and like different rhythms to everything. Are there any times in the fight choreography where you've used the dance background into a fight sequence?
Oh yeah, it's funny that I only got into dance because of martial arts and breaking in particularly. When I saw it, it looked like a fight without a fight, because I was doing smokers events at the time and doing like open matches and such, and in my first 2 years of university, I got into gymnastics because I wanted to expand on the more gymnastics element of martial arts. And then my third year, when I transferred to another university, I was flipping in one of the rec rooms, and one of my friends, uh, he just saw me and he was like, "Oh, you should join the breaking club, the b-boy club." And I was like, "What's a b-boy?" I saw it,
Oh,
and
okay.
yeah, and I just immediately got hooked, because it was like you learn your foundation, but everybody has their own style. So it was like around the world, you're like, "Whoa, like show me your kung fu. What's your my style is better than your style," and it was like those kind of throwback energy, and I loved it. Like you can really be yourself without having to get punched in the face multiple times.
Yeah, that's always helpful. That's
It's
always
a plus,
nice.
yeah. And they were really taking it to the physical heights of ability. You may have seen it in the opening clip, but one of the
Hmm.
Instagram videos, I do utilize some of my breaking skills in order to add some more flair and touch to the choreography.
Hmm.
Like there's one specialty that I do where I jump on my back, I bounce on my back on concrete, while people are like flying over me or attacking over me, and that's a skill. That's a breaking specialty that I have. There's quite a few different ways. I am a huge fan of doing dynamic movement, but making it make sense. Though
Yes.
there's a lot of choreography that's out there that unfortunately they just do the move just to do the move, and it doesn't make sense to the fight. It doesn't connect to the actual attribute. So really, always looking to make sure that it's not just there just to do that there,
Yeah,
and
that
like
makes sense.
movements.
Like certain things, like in the fight choreography, where they wouldn't make sense to do the next move that they just did or something like that. So
Right.
that I appreciate that. So how has the stunt industry changed since you first started, and then what would you like to see heading in the future?
Wow. So there have been a ton of new players. Um, 8711 probably changed the game most when I came in. And if you don't know 8711, they're the ones who did all the John Wicks, Matrix, Atomic Blonde, the, all the more recent, any crazy fight scene movie that you've seen, 300. Yeah, um, they were they were the ones who did a lot of the fight choreography, if not all the fight choreography for it. And I was lucky enough to train under Chad Stahelski, he's the leader there for a couple years from 2018 to 20, and Jeremy Moranis. And honestly, they changed the landscape. Matrix changed the landscape. Jackie changed the landscape. There's a lot of different routes that people were looking for, and now everybody's looking to do one kind of thing. Everybody wants to be the next John Wick, or this is a John Wick type film, or something like that. So once that came around, that did a lot of change, and that threw in a lot of judo techniques, and a lot of course, like being able to shoot in a specific type of way, and utilizing weapons in a specific type of way as well. So definitely kudos to that. I love to see former stunt coordinators and second unit directors taking the helm and becoming directors and stepping into that lane. And
it's like John Wick's director, right, was a stunt performer, if I remember.
That's Chad. Yeah, Chad Stahelski. Yeah,
that's Chad. That was Chad, I thought.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
We there's quite a few other people who are stepping into that route. You have JJ Perry, you have David Leach of 87 North. There's Garrett Warren. He worked with on Avatar multiple times, and now he's doing his own thing. There's quite a few different stunt coordinators that are stepping up to that plate of director. And honestly, and I'm sure the audience has realized, it's necessary for a lot of fight scenes that have been seen, because there is a level there's a hierarchy within the industry, and each department has their own thing that they do, and stunts definitely have their own thing, and but unfortunately stunts are usually not necessarily allowed in the editing room, which is one thing that I'm really advocating for, and we've been advocating for. And so we will do a previs, or stunts will do something called a previs, and a previs is like a pre-visual, where you shoot a certain types of fight scenes that you would give to the director, and you would hope them to shoot it similarly on the day if they check off on it.
Yeah, it could be like in the training room where you're doing all your sequences, and somebody holds the camera and kind of shoots the way that you imagine it would be on set.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. And so they shoot those sequences, but again, coordinator will have a certain vision, but if the editor in post-production doesn't know that vision and they're not aligned with that, then you'll get a lot of shots that may not make sense. And I always say that this is, yes, you can have the skill set of knowing music and knowing how to play the piano, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you know how to play the trumpet, even if you know music. And so it's pretty much a completely different skill set. There's been plenty of times I've had to teach camera operators and DPs on set with 20 plus years of experience of shooting high level films, how to shoot a fight sequence.
Yeah, definitely.
Camera angles. And I do not have their experience whatsoever, but I have the experience in my lane and and
how it should look.
Yeah.
And it kind of, have you ever heard of the movie Godzilla -1?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the writer, director, and visual effects supervisor were all the same person. And it created this perfect marriage in there. And I think having Chad as like the director of John Wick kind of created that perfect marriage for stunt choreography. Because you watch things like Keanu does, and all the studying he has done, and a lot of the stuff that he's doing makes sense. And when he was in Matrix, like the Matrix kind of opened up that thing for actors to actually train and learn how to do it. Because for so long it was always like having to cut away, so it's not always obvious if it was the actor or whatnot. We actually have a question in chat and said from Justin Moore, "Hey Van, my wife paid off the I don't know why he's asking that. That has to do with Van." He put it on the screen though. But yeah, I think it was like Chad's vision with John Wick was like a perfect marriage of all the stunt, because my husband and I are watching it. It's just nonstop action, and all of it makes sense in what he's doing, and he's so exact too. And so I think your stance on seeing stunt performers taking the helm more and like the lead person and being in the edit room. I think that's really important, and I really appreciate you bringing that up. Now, are there?
Sorry,
Yes,
really
Van's
quick.
here.
One
Van's
of the,
here.
in the opening intro, one of the shots I was really excited about, or one that caught my attention, was when you did a move and then the camera swung around and it was a close up of your face, like smiling into the camera. And I just thought about what you were talking about the precision of, it's not just about the fight move, but you also it's almost a dance with the camera as well, because if the camera's not in the right exact spot, it's a completely different move than what you intended it to be.
100%. Yeah, we're directors as well, and so most of the time, the things that made my team pop off, and my team's called Fighters Warriors Champions, or FWC.
Yeah, I actually have a couple questions about that.
Is that we do a lot of oneers on iPhone, and we're shooting them on iPhone. But I'm usually, or one of us are usually directing, saying like, okay, this is the best shot for this angle. And the camera work is really important. So it's a 3-person dance if we're doing a 2-man fight. Mm-hmm. We call it cam fu. Basically,
I love that. That's great.
In order to be like to be able to showcase the action and bring the audience in as close as possible. So we're utilizing the technology, like the 0.5 angle of the iPhone, in order to make that more of a
kind of that fisheye lens. I think it would be cool if they had more cameramen that were also like had some stunt, like worked with the people in previs and see how it would look beforehand before being on set too. Just like how understanding what VFX artists might need for to make the VFX look good, because sometimes the director will want something and it's not shot quite well or something like that, and the VFX do the best they can, but sometimes it doesn't always work, and so all that preparation beforehand for it. And I think that just like with, like you said, 2-man fight team, the camera is like your third. It's a dance of 3 rather than 2. So it'd be cool to kind of like see them, even cameramen, being involved more in the actual training process to kind of know what they're supposed to be doing.
And just quickly to speak on that, those camera people, they have one of the tougher jobs, because they have to memorize both sides of the choreography. If it's only 2 people, or if there's multiple more than that, they have to memorize all that choreography, because they need to know where to be at the right time. So it generally takes somebody who can memorize that kind of choreo really quickly, which is a stunt performer, to be able to handle that. So you'll see that in like films like Extraction, where
I saw that one.
Right,
yeah, very good.
Most of those that's another stuntman who.
That's really cool to know.
Directed. So. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really important to have that communication between the two. I know it's on a very small scale, but I've done some videography work, and it was more for theater, but I still needed to know the show to know where to put my camera and angle and everything ahead of time. And someone wanted me to record something, and I had less than 4 days notice, and I literally had never seen the show when I showed up to record. And my preparation for it was I had a close angle and a far away angle, and if I absolutely had to, and my close up angle wasn't in the right spot, I would fade into the far away angle. Unfortunately, that was just the best I could have planned. But that shows how important it is for a camera person to know where the fight, where to point it, that kind of thing. And like what Van pointed out, when it showed your face smiling, that's like the storytelling part of a fight. Because they're not just the fight choreography, there's also all the emotion that the characters are having to go through. Even like, I know they call them minions or like whatever, they're like the bad guys that are just like there for like a few seconds, also have their own story in a sense being told in a fight choreography. Now, what advice would you give to someone who's interested in pursuing a career in stunt performing?
I would say first, only do it if you love it.
Yes.
Do not do it for the money. And in general, set your expectations. There is a lot of people who, again, that's why I relate it to like the Olympic performers. There's a lot of training that goes into this. I am completely grateful for this kind of lifestyle, because every day I'm able to learn a new skill or try to do something new. And I appreciate it. I love it. It's so much fun. But you got to be a nerd about it. Like
Yeah.
you really just got to live and breathe this stuff, and you would do it for free even if you didn't really care about it. Because again, it takes a long time and a lot of work usually to be able to get things going as a general career. 95% of this industry is your network and people knowing who you are. Other stunt performers bringing you onto shows. We don't have agents, and we're essentially our own agents and our own advocates for each other. Training in the right places, being in the right parts of the city. A lot of people, unfortunately, if you're not in one of the major cities that stunts are being performed, it's very, very difficult to get into stunts. But it does not mean that you cannot do what you need to do, which is the training in order to prepare for that. And I always recommend people doing fight recreations. So you can take scenes from your favorite movies or scenes from other stunt performers that you see online and try to copy the choreography. Don't just go and make your own. Really see what they're doing, seeing how they're setting up the camera angles, do the exact same thing. Try to recreate that fight exactly bar for bar as
make your own previs of that fight,
exactly.
kind of thing. I think it's really good because a lot of people do that with dance choreography too. They learn the choreography of their favorite artist. This stunt performers are martial artists.
Yep. And it's easy. It's an easy way to tell what your level is. You'll start to be like, oh, maybe my form is not as great as they are, or I'm not able to keep up as fast as they are, or dang, this is a lot harder than I expected, which comes out a lot of the time. But once you start to get good at that, then it may be a clear sign that, hey, you should be coming out to Hollywood, or going to Atlanta or New York or any of the major cities, or go to London where they're at right now.
Could be, in another lifetime, I may have been able to do stuff like that because that would have been pretty epic. I did do like joke ones with my friends when I was younger. Like we were doing the martial arts and we thought we'd be cool and like you have your own VHS camcorder.
Nice.
Trying to make your own stuff like that, which is also silly. Now, you mentioned FWC, which stands for those who don't know, Fighters, Warriors, Champions. Could you tell us a bit about the group?
So we got started about a year and a half ago, May 2023. And that was during the strike. Again, it's a hard time if you're in this industry at points. And so you have to be ready for it. But I had actually had a social media marketing agency for 10 years. And I was helping others grow on social media, businesses and individuals. I decided to pivot more from just being bad guy number 7, getting thrown through a window, to being more of a character and a face, an actor, a lead. I had just come off of an Emmy win from Love, Death, and Robots. So yeah, and it was a good opportunity for me to really, once again, really pursue acting on a strong and higher level. And becoming an action actor, and I had wanted to take that route very well. And so because of my agency, I knew how strong marketing is for martial arts. And my driving force has always been representation. Unfortunately, as a Black martial artist, I don't really get to showcase my skill set as much. Just because a lot of the roles I'll be getting is either gangster, soldier, and we're taking 1 or 2 hits and we're down.
I want to see you in a Chris Hemsworth Extraction type role. That would be pretty epic.
That'd be amazing. I would love that. And so a lot of the roles, like we only get Black Panther or Black Lightning to be able to showcase some kind of martial art skill set. So we decided to take it in our own hands, and I wanted to be able to again do that. And so on social media, I've been able to do that with our team. And in the first 6 months of doing of formulation, we got 1 billion views, 12 million followers across all platforms. And it really showed that it was one in need. There's not many martial arts shows out there right now. You have Cobra Kai, Warrior; those are pretty much the only ones. So people were starved for it, and they really like the reminiscing back to the martial arts era. You know, a lot of our current action or older action stars are all old. You know, like Jackie and
Like is it Jet Li? You know, it just starts to get there where they can't do it as much, and that style, like that feel of it. Sometimes you don't want it to die with them.
Yep,
in that sense,
exactly.
and so it'd be real cool. You know, Chuck Norris is he's getting there too. You know, he'll probably never die. You know, with the whole joke about Chuck Norris, but you know, it just happens, and sometimes it'd be cool to kind of see a movie bring that back in a sense, even if they're there to consult more than anything. Because I know Jackie has his own team and everything too that he's worked with over the years. Now, when you get a video ready for FWC on the page, can you explain the process of planning and executing a video for it?
We don't.
Actually, you don't. Is it just like on the fly type of thing?
It's some of our most viral videos. It took us about 30 minutes from concept to shooting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That exercise for the brain, not just physically, but like exercise to create something so quick like that is really impressive.
And I mean, it's akin to a lot of our team's skill set. You know, like all of us have been training in martial arts and stunts for years, you know. And so it's not necessarily something that we could just recommend to other people. But we would have meetup days. And a lot of we have 6 members. Myself, David, and Fiction were the original team members. And then we also have Kiana Renz and Anisha Gibbs, Nish. And so we have like either been in stunts for a long time or world or martial arts champions, you know, across the board. And so being able to collaborate with a similar spoken language has made things a lot easier. We do have team training together when we have the time, but a lot of times I'll always tell them, bring an outfit. bring something, you know, bring something.
Like you said, you got to be a nerd about it, and even in your free time, you get nerdy with the stunt choreography and put something together. That's pretty cool. I miss doing stuff where, and I was in martial arts, we would go to schools and do demonstrations, and we would put together a piece to do in front of the kids. And it's nothing nearly as, you know, grand as like a very nice big fight choreography. I was 12 years old. Trying to do it. Most of the time when I was an adult, the school I had gone to was focused on defense and physical fitness. But when I was younger, it was more about tournaments and choreography and things like that. So in a sense, I have it like on both sides. But now my last question for you is, what's one lesson you've learned from stunt work that you have applied to your everyday life outside of stunt work?
I would say get it done.
Get it done.
Like, get it done.
Don't procrastinate, kind of a thing.
Exactly. Yeah, and also just overcoming your fears is something that is. There's always something that you can do. You can make it work, right? And I think this is in general in Hollywood, especially if you're on lower budget or indie films. There's always a route. There's always a way to get a vision out there and get your vision done. It's just something that you need to just really think of the best way to do it with the resources that you have.
Make it work. Just make it work. And like what you said about connections is so important. You know, my business that I have is videography and like photography and video editing, things like that. And I did streaming on my own personal channel for a while, but I wasn't like doing the streaming anymore. And then ARC's producer had to leave very suddenly. And 3 days before my live show is when I joined this channel. And it was all about that connection where my friend was the manager at the store for the Kyber Cave Sabers. And so it's all about those connections, like you said. And then, Van, who goes to these conventions all the time, know the Rippers, and then said, you got to bring on Swirv. And like, there's all the connections that like you mentioned, happen. And word of mouth is very important. That's why sometimes it's very important to like present and be there. And I'm really enjoying all of our interview. I know we're out of time, but I was really enjoying knowing more stuff about it because I kind of geek out about the stuff that I can't get to do. And so I'm very excited I got to speak with you, and thank you so much for joining us. I really enjoyed it. So thank you for coming on our show and for sharing about all of your your background, anything in the industry, and about FWC. If you guys want to check out FWC, I did link it in the chat, but it's also in the description below to their Instagram page. And I also linked Swirv's IMDb page. And you can see actually he has a YouTube channel as well. If you just look up Swirv on YouTube, he has got his stunt reel and other videos that are a lot of fun to watch. I was like just sitting there scrolling through the videos today. I was like, this is great. So if you guys want to check him out, thank you, Swirv, so much for coming on. Really, really appreciate it. You have a wonderful night. I know I'm not sure where you're based off of or where you're located if you're traveling for work at the moment or anything. I didn't ask that before. Are you in the U.S.?
Yeah, I'm in LA actually. I'm in
okay.
So our whole team is based in LA. So if you guys come out, just let us know. And I love. Thank you again so much for having me. It's been fun. I always love talking. Like you said, I'm the same.
Like we're nerds about it.
Yeah.
Talk fight. I was like, that's why I was excited to interview you. I was like, fight stuff. Woohoo!
Yes.
So everyone in your family is okay?
Yeah, our whole family has been okay. My family actually, my parents live in still back in Philly on the East Coast, and my brother and his family live in London. So I'm the only one out here in California, but I've been all right. I've been luckily enough away from the fires and the unfortunate things that have been happening for the last few weeks. So we've just been doing charity work. I've been going to charities and donating and trying our best to help out, and we have really come together in this time.
Well, on the 16th, I'll be at a concert doing the same thing, helping fundraise for you guys. And yes, there's a comment for you. Somebody caught you right at the end of your interview.
Someone Goose says, I got to the end. I'll rewatch, but I met you in New York. I was working with Rip. Their name says Goose.
Oh yeah, we probably were at the it was Anime NYC, most likely.
Okay.
Yeah, we go to a lot of conventions, and so that, of course, shout out to BYO. They've helped bring us to quite a few conventions last year. We're going to be working on a lot of things in the future together with them. They're amazing, great personalities. We go out to eat all the time. We sing karaoke. We're a family now. We're part of that.
That sounds like I want to join you because you may not know this, but I'm an opera singer.
Oh,
that's where mezzo comes from, mezzo soprano, and I love going to do karaoke and trying out different styles for fun. So if I'm ever in the same area as you and stuff, I'll just join you guys if that's okay, and go have some karaoke because I'm excited for
David and Renz will be locked in because David and Renz are both Filipino. Yeah, they're Filipino. And
yes.
Give them
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. My husband's boss was Filipino, and the moment we came over, it's like, all right, bring out the mics.
And you would love Gary and hanging out with Gary and V anyways. That sounds like a party altogether. We'll all party together the next convention.
Most definitely.
All right. Thank you so much, Swirv, again for coming on. And you have a wonderful night, and we'll talk to you later.
Thank you so much, sir.
Cheers.
Well, gosh, you're a little bigger than I am. That was Swirv, y'all. I really enjoyed seeing some of the footage. That's kind of like a previs, like he mentioned, and then you see him using the same skill in one of the shoots. And
that was the longest outro reel you have ever done. I can tell you really enjoyed that.
Shorten it because I liked it so much.
There was so much good stuff in there.
It is. It's pretty. It's just epic, and I really enjoyed watching it. I'm sitting there like, oh wait, he just did those moves. It's like a preview. Oh, then he did it in there. I can't cut any of that out. So, I very much enjoyed having him on and getting to know more about the industry and some of this, just from this one person to person, getting to know and asking all my questions that I got all prepared because I do that thing.
And by the way, Goose, I believe, is Greg Stevens. I said Steve, but it's Stevens, his last name.
Okay.
So
thank you for correcting yourself. How dare you?
Yes, that was absolutely fantastic. It is amazing. And just seeing how all those skills come together, jumping out of a plane, into the water, into scuba gear, then those amazingly high kicks. So you can see how, like, the capoeira, the breakdancing, and all of it, like, just comes together.
And then there's, like, the specific ways you fall. When, like, he's doing, like, the spins and he falls and stuff, is like a certain way, like, you slap your hand and stuff like that on the ground and stuff. It kind of helps.
Right. Did you see the superhero landing?
Of course. Who doesn't do the superhero landing? It feels like nowadays. All right. So thank you so much. All right, guys, we're going to be moving on. Next is thank you so much. Next is guess that character. Metzo's little. Who is the Star Wars character silhouette? Let's see if you guys can guess it. Here is the first one. Who is this?
I feel we need music. We need we need some Cantina music. Dun 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 dun. Let's see.
I'm not gonna sing SpongeBob.
Okay. I'm gonna try. Wait, no. I think I guessed that last.
You guys put your guesses in the chat, and we'll see if any of you can get it, man. I do. We'll see if you guys find it hard or easy too. Sometimes it just depends. That is not correct.
It is not correct. Is it?
But I see why you guessed that.
Okay, did I have the gender correct?
No.
Oh man, I'm way off.
You're way off.
Universe.
All right, this first character is Poe Dameron.
Oh man, that is not Mon Mothma.
No, it's not Mon Mothma. That is what Van's guess was. And Poe Dameron, who was originally served as a member of the Spice Runners of Kijimi, before becoming a pilot in the New Republic and eventually joining the Resistance. And we all saw him. The first time you see Rey and you see Finn, he kind of helps out Finn, calls him buddy, and gives him his jacket. And that's how we see Poe. And he's pretty awesome. He's actually appears in Rise of the Resistance. Ride at Disneyland. You get to see a little bit of him, which is kind of fun.
Spice smuggler.
He's a spice smuggler. But yes, he eventually joined the Resistance and rising to become acting general of the Resistance during the Cold War and subsequent war with the First Order. So he's one of my favorite characters, and I love Oscar Isaac a lot. I think he's pretty awesome.
He was fantastic in Moon Knight as well.
Yes, he was. He was very fantastic in Moon Knight. Next is who is this?
Oh man, is that Lex Luthor?
This is Star Wars.
Oh, my bad. Wrong universe. Let's see.
Yes, very wrong.
Who is? Who's bald? Bald with the...
Can you figure it out?
I feel like it's Picard.
That again is the wrong universe, and that is like how a lot of Trekkies Warzies would be very upset with you at this moment if you were serious.
Oh no, I'm pissing off half our audience right now. That's for sure. Oh, okay.
All right, who do you think it is? Who do you think it is? Or can you actually guess it?
I have no. It's somebody bald. I don't think it's a helmet.
Is it?
I don't know. Who is it? Is it a vampire? It's Narth.
All right. Well, if you have no guess, Van.
I have no guess.
The answer is Mace Windu.
Oh,
come on! How did you not get that?
How did I not get that? I said he was bald. How did I not?
I know. Come on,
the
Samuel Jackson.
Character.
So Mace Windu was a revered Force-sensitive human male, Jedi Master, and a member of the Jedi High Council during the last years of the Republic era. Windu bested Palpatine in a confrontation and, deciding the Chancellor was too dangerous to be left alive due to his influence over the government, prepared to strike him down, but Anakin intervened and allowed the Sith Lord to kill Mace Windu. And I know a lot of people have, like, is he really dead kind of like jokes over time, but I'm pretty sure he's dead because I feel like we would have seen him. That one. I know. Goose Goose says, "Gee, I was going to say Vernestra. I'm staying quiet on these now."
Hey, I said Mon Mothma on the first one.
And this week I chose very well-known characters. Sometimes I'll choose like a video game character that's kind of like a deep cut that you won't know about.
Obscure.
Yeah, super obscure. All right, so that is your Guess That Character segment of this week. Before we end our show, I want to remind you guys that we have a very exciting guest coming up on March 2nd. Take a look at this.
We don't talk about Bruno, no, no, no. We don't talk about Bruno. But it was my wedding day. We were getting ready and there wasn't a cloud in the sky. Bruno walks in with a mischievous grin. You tell him a story, alright.
I'm sorry, maybe that go on.
Bruno says it looks like rain. In doing so, he floods my brain. Married in a hurricane.
All right, so yes, March 2nd, Adasa, who played Dolores in Encanto, will be on our show. And I'm very, very excited.
For those of you that are Star Wars fans, we actually have quite a few exciting guests coming up. We have Carlos Sanchez, who was a artist for Clone Wars as well as Bad Batch, and we also have a really big get. This actually came through our convention manager, Joe Carney, who is, I guess, an artist for Lucasfilms, and has been a featured speaker at several of the Star Wars celebrations. So I'm really excited about some of the... we've had a lot of Star Wars actors in the past, but now we're starting to get to the people that actually created some of these characters and some of these famous places. So I'm excited. It never a dull moment. We've been running this show for 4 years, and we still find exciting people to bring to you guys.
Yes, we got more. Yes, exactly. Thank you guys so much for watching us this week. Make sure to tune in for next week, and we'll just have it. Today's my son's birthday, so I'm gonna go say happy birthday again and hang out with him. He's 15 today, and he is 6 feet tall. It's ridiculous.
And don't forget, we are 69 people away from our NeoPixel giveaway.
Yes. So please make sure you share and tell people so that you and the people you tell have a chance to win a NeoPixel Saber, which is very exciting.
Woo! All right. We will see you next week. And what day is today? Today is
Sunday the 26th.
The 26th.
5 days from now is the 31st, which makes that Friday.
I'm trying to look to see
so
what
you want
on the
February 2nd is the next show.
February 2nd. Oh, that's Carlos Sanchez. Yay.
Yeah.
He is. That's who I was just talking about. All right. Wonderful. We will see you guys next week with Carlos.
Yes. Bye, guys. Have a good week.
Adios.